Welcome to another MS CRM add-ons how-to video. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to set up a attachment extractor service. It's really simple to do. So let me go ahead and flip on over to my demo machine and go ahead and start up the service management tool for attachment extractor. Just come right on down here to MS CRM add-ons, attachment extractor, and service management. Go ahead and fire that up. It takes just a few seconds for it to come up. And from there, basically what we're going to do, starting off here with the General tab, setting up a new service, I want to go ahead and give it the service name. So I'll just go ahead and call this test for the purposes of this video. After I've given it a name, go ahead and hit the check. And that lets me go ahead and set all my other options. From here, I can set a log file path if I'd like, minimum attachment size, whether that be in KB or in megabytes, the blocked extensions, setting my batch size, my process flag field, etc. All these other things. Usually, you can leave all this as default, just if you're just starting out, and change it to suit your needs. The one thing though is the CRM data processing. You have two different options here. You have copy or move. Definitely if you're just testing attachment extractor out, whether you're in the trial or just getting started with it, I would always suggest copying it just to make sure that attachment extractor is going to behave like you want it to. By doing this, you're able to delete all the files in SharePoint and still have all the files in CRM. The move is actually going to move that attachment on over, and it's really good to do once you have everything in place and working the way that you want to. You can get the files back onto CRM from SharePoint, but it is a pain, and it is something that you have to do kind of one at a time. So always kind of copy when you're first starting out. Once you're done setting these, we're going to move on to the extraction. And then basically from here, we'll just set the little options for what we're going to extract. We have two types for email or note attachments. Both of these have the items to index. That would basically be like if you wanted to index your emails or your notes so that these things were searchable inside of SharePoint or using a tool such as Power Search. You can set those. Usually, it's just good to go ahead and I just always uncheck those. For most people, they're not going to use the indexing services to search through these things. They're just going to actually just click on the links for the attachments there right in CRM. Definitely want to grab the email attachments or the note attachments. If I didn't want to have the note attachments for this, I'd just go ahead and uncheck that. Same with the email. Both of these have the updated items, so if I have an updated email or an updated note field, attachment extractor will go back and take a look at that and see if there's anything new that needs to be extracted. For the email, stripping HTML tags, basically I'm going to strip all those right out of the email. So again, both these have the delayed processing. You can delay the time by any number of hours that you want to. So if you get an email in, you can delay that by several hours before attachment extractor actually goes in and it extracts these. The other options, your encoding, excluded entities, and stop on errors. These are definitely things, it's good to kind of leave these as the default and only change if necessary. If you do know some entities that you want to go ahead and exclude, you just can you put the names of those entities right in here. This last option is the new folders per, and you have two options, whether that be week or by day. So basically, attachment extractor is going to create a weekly folder or a daily folder, however you want to do this. Once I'm done with these settings, I'll go ahead and move on to my storage options. Two different types of storage options. I have SharePoint or file share. Just would basically enter the information into these two. For this, I'm going to pick SharePoint. Go ahead and enter in my SharePoint URL, which is CRM 2013, and my my port here and go ahead and hit the little refresh button. Now here you can enter in subfolders. If you have a subfolder that you need to get to, you can enter in the subfolder here, or you can just go ahead and select here from the libraries that you have already. I'm going to go ahead and put these in the documents library, and then I need to go ahead and enter in my SharePoint users. So starting off, just put in the domain. And my password. All right, so once I'm done with that, I'll move on to my CRM Connection Setup. And this is just the same thing when you first originally installed Attachment Extractor. It's going to be the same settings here. For mine, I'm going to say it's standard on-premise. So just enter my CRM URL. And I'm just going to go ahead and, since I am logged into this machine as the administrator, I'm going to go ahead and use my default credentials. If you have another user, you can just uncheck that and enter your information here. So I'll go ahead and retrieve all my organizations, pick the organization that I want the service to run for, which is going to be the standard, and go ahead and click OK. After I'm done, it lets me know that my connection was successful and I've connected to the organization. I'll click OK. And then after that, after I'm done, I'll go ahead and save my service configuration. So I'll save it, and ask me a question if I'm sure that I want to do the weekly structure, and then changing the option later will result in updated items being replicated to a new folder. So you got to think about that really, really carefully. After I'm done, I'll go ahead and hit yes. And again, I'm running CRM connections with integrated security. When running a service, the service users, etc., etc. Just you got to make sure that that all these settings are correct. All right, so great. So go ahead and get that done. And it just takes a couple of seconds to go ahead and create the service. So it's going to think just for a little bit. And here in just a moment, I've got my new inactive service. So now, unfortunately, naturally, everything is all set up. If I have my correct license installed on here, I could go ahead and start the service. The service would then be started from right in here and go into my active services. Now, you cannot start these services from the services snap-in on the Microsoft Management Console. They have to be stopped and started from inside of this tool. So I hope that was informative, and thank you for watching.